I didn't have a Shazam t-shirt. The closest thing I had to it is my Flash t-shirt. They're both lightning bolts, so I guess I'm pretty close. Shazam is directed by David F. Sandberg and starring Zachary Levi, Mark Strong, Asher Angel, Jack Dylan Grazer, and Jimon Honsu. Before I go any further, I just want to say there will not be any plot spoilers in this review. This is the newest film in the DCEU, or DC Cinematic Universe, or whatever they are calling it these days, and this film centers around the character of Billy Batson, or his superhero counterpart in Shazam. Billy Batson is a young 14-year-old boy who is an orphan. He has been going from foster home to foster home. He's kind of a troubled youth, but once he lands at this new foster home, he is actually confronted by an ancient wizard portrayed by Jimon Honsu, who is looking for his new champion in the form of Shazam. And Billy Batson is chosen worthy of being this new champion, and now he has to deal with not only being himself, but also being this new superhero in Shazam. This is definitely the lightest film we have gotten from the DCEU. It does pale in comparison to films like Man of Steel, or Batman v Superman, or even Wonder Woman, and to a certain extent, Aquaman. But I have to say, that does not hinder this film at all. And I really like the fact that this film has a lot more heart and is a lot much lighter, because we are dealing with a much different character than those characters. Billy Batson, or Shazam, is a teenage boy in a superhero body, so the film needs to reflect that tone, and it reflects that tone very, very well. This film is filled with genuine heart. It is a really good character piece and character journey for the Billy Batson character in having to deal with all the things that he's dealing with, looking for an identity, looking for a family, looking for a place to fit in, and also now he is this big bulky superhero in Shazam. And for those of you who are not familiar with the character of Shazam, or as he was originally known in the comic books as Captain Marvel, over time his name was switched to Shazam, I think for some type of legal rights and all that kind of stuff, but he is now known as Shazam, and he's been around for a very long time. And Shazam is essentially the most powerful human. He is someone who has powers very similar to Superman. He can fly, he has invulnerability, super strength, things like that, but he is also endowed with magical powers, which of course separates him from Superman. And he is also has, like I said, the mind of a teenager or a young boy. So this film really capitalizes on that aspect. It really fully explores that aspect of his character, and it does so in a rather interesting and, I would say, relevant way. A way that we can relate to the character as well, because when we were teenagers, we probably didn't do things that were quote-unquote heroic. You know, if we had superpowers when we were kids, we would probably do some of the things that the character of Billy Batson did in this film. It also led to a lot of genuine comedic moments. This film does have a lot of comedy in it, but don't be confused that this film is entirely light popcorn fare. There are moments of this film where the tone shifts to being very, very dark, and I would say has a horror vibe to it. And that is probably because David F. Sandberg has a career predominantly within the horror genre. He did the film Lights Out, he has also done Annabelle Creation, and he injects some of the elements in this film, specifically when it comes to the villain, who is portrayed by Mark Strong. He is very much the complete opposite of Billy Batson slash Shazam. He is someone also dealing with his own set of emotional and character building problems, and he decides to tackle them in a rather mean and evil, menacing way. And that is when the film gets decidedly darker. And I would say that use caution when you're bringing very, very young children to this film, because there's going to be scenes that are going to probably frighten them. There is also a great, I think, mythos when it comes to this film, when it comes to the backstory of the origins of Shazam and the mystical, magical world that he comes from. Also, the acting in this film, I think, was fantastic. Zachary Levi portrayed a 14-year-old boy in a grown-up body very, very well and very, very genuine. The young actors who portrayed Billy Batson, as well as his foster family, I thought were fantastic as well. They were really genuine and really felt real. Even though we did not get a lot of development from a lot of them, they still felt authentic, to me at least. And it was also a very diverse cast of foster children, which I thought was really important because we get to see that children are orphans from every type of race and every type of background. It is not only specific to one or another, and it's also diverse when it comes to gender. There are boys and there are girls in this foster family as well. I thought the parents of the foster family I thought were really good. Those two actors I think had great chemistry with the young actors as well as with each other. But getting back to the technical aspects of this film, I thought it was very well made from a technical perspective. The fight scenes are big and bombastic, but they're not too over the top. They're also very well shot, very well choreographed to the point where you could see everything that's going on in front of you. There are no over jump cuts, over edits, or anything like that. It also has great pacing. The film is over 2 hours long, but you don't really feel it because everything is moving forward in this film. There's no real stagnancy within it. All of the scenes mesh into one another and the film moves at a great pace. When it comes to the overall negatives I have with this film, the general plot and the character building for the hero is something that we've typically seen before. Trying out the powers and growing and all that kind of stuff is not something that we're not used to seeing, but I think the film does it in a really genuine and honest way, to the point where it is not a big negative with me. One could make the argument that the villain is a little one-note and is a little kind of generic when it comes to his overall motivations for why he's doing what he's doing, but I thought Mark Strong played it so well that I didn't quite mind it. So with all of that being said, I'm going to give this film a 3.8 out of 5 stars. It is fun, it is light, it is heartfelt, it is entertaining. The acting I thought was overall fantastic. It's a really solid origin story for a Shazam character that I don't think a lot of people are aware of, but I hope they are more aware of now. I also recommend it if you are a fan of the comic book superhero genre, whether it be DC or Marvel, whichever one you prefer. It doesn't really matter in this case because this is an overall really good film. That has been my review of Shazam. If you like this video, please check out the other videos on my channel.